Christopher Fenter, grade 6, DeWitt Primary School. My argument is about inequality in education. Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." However, are all schools created equal? For years now, we, the children of South Africa, have been promised equal education by our ruling government. But have these promises been fulfilled? I say no. Good day, adjudicators and fellow speakers. Amnesty.org posted an article on the 11th of February 2020 wherein Shanila Muhammad, the Executive Director of Amnesty International South Africa, was quoted saying, "For South Africa to comply with both its constitutional and international human rights obligations with respect to education, major changes needed urgently." What major changes is it that she's talking about? Well, there are two inequalities I would like to highlight today. Lack of infrastructure and how COVID-19 has highlighted inequalities even more. In the article posted on the Daily Vox.co today on the 19th of March 2018, Zahida Vali brought attention to the lack of infrastructure by comparing schools in the well-known area of Sandton, where state-of-the-art facilities in public schools is the standard, to the underfunded schools in the Alexandra Township next door. Here buildings are collapsing, children very often have no textbooks, and are regularly confronted by violence. In the study by Amnesty International, which I mentioned in my opening, they spoke to some children who attended rural and township schools, and the issue they complained about the most was the dirty, unhealthy, and even dangerous toilets they had to use. How is it fair that one school has so much while another has so very little? Inequalities in education were highlighted even further when COVID-19 struck the world and lockdown came into existence. E-learning was the only way to try and keep up with our education, but in an article published on the 29th of May 2020 on the website blogs.lse.ac.uk, a young person by the name of Ayanda, who lives in Khayelitsha, said that e-learning was reserved for the upper and middle classes, while the poor do not have access to electronic devices, data, electricity, and sometimes even stationery. And although government tried to make lessons available on television and radio, it was just not enough to bridge the gap of unequal division of learning resources. Ladies and gentlemen, this begs the question, how do we fix the problem? Provide books to low-income families, get people to use free resources, give children access to literacy resources and tutors, and divide funds equally between all schools. These are just a few ideas that were mentioned on ocpartnerships.net in the article How to Reduce Inequality in Education, written by Lovell Howard and published on the 15th of February 2022. Now that we've seen the lack of infrastructure and COVID-19 has impacted our education system, it is up to us to make the necessary changes for all our learners to have access to equal and excellent education. I would like to leave you off with this quote by Sonia Sotomayor, the first Hispanic woman appointed to the United States Supreme Court. Until we get equality in education, we won't have an equal society.